So, Joe, Deion Sanders to the Dallas Cowboys has been floated out there on the Twitter machine. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I think at some point he's leaving. I don't see him staying at Colorado more than a year. If he doesn't get an NFL job, I don't see him staying more than a year at Colorado. I can't.
Here's my thing, Blake. I feel like this is such an easy headline for ESPN to push out. They've turned into an outlet that is trying to
push him there. Dallas.
Well, no, but just naturally, they try to generate headlines. They're not the same type of outlet that has been, journalistic integrity. It has been generate buzz. And this is the second or third time that this has been brought up. In just a general fantasy, this is an amazing concept. Like it's a great idea. Trade Dak Prescott, move up to that second or third overall pick, and go and get probably the third overall pick and go and draft Shedeur Sanders. And there is also then an ability for although you'd have to trade with the Giants, it'd be hard, but there's an ability for Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders to stronghold certain teams into saying, I'm not coming to play for you unless, X, Y, and Z, you need to let me go to Dallas, blah, blah, blah. There is draft capital for them to make this move to reunite them and for them to be Dallas Cowboys. It would be a match made in heaven. It would be a part of one of the biggest franchises in all of sports, in the entire world. This would be perfect. This would play exactly into what Jerry Jones wants. But I just don't think that, one, Deion Sanders wants to leave and to be a part of this. Two, I think that both Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders are smart enough to realize that the Dallas Cowboys right now are a shit show and it is not an organization worth tying your career to. And three, I also think one thing that's not talked about enough, like if this does happen, it would be with the stipulation of connecting Shedeur and Deion back together. And I don't think Shedeur Sanders wants to continue to have this. I mean, I would think at a certain point when you're 22, 23 years old, you should have aspirations to go on and do your own thing and no longer be coached by your dad.
Can I tell you what I was thinking the entire time when you were saying that?
What?
Says the guy in the New York Giants hat.
Oh, stop it. Don't you can't.
Because you know good and well that there's going to be somebody, okay?
You can't call into you can't call into question my fandom impacting my.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I know what the comments are going to read, and that is exactly what the comments are going to read when we go and look at them. I'm with you on this. I think it would be. I really do like Dion. He brings a lot of headlines to us, me, you, everybody. Why would you do this? I mean, like it. There comes a part in time where Dallas has got to be serious. Yeah, trade Dak Prescott, draft Shedeur, do what you think that you need to do. All that. Make Dion your head coach. And what's going to happen if it misses?
Right.
It's going to be utter chaos. Like Jerry said that he wants to win a Super Bowl before he dies. It's the number one thing that he wants to do. Sounds good. Dion?
I feel like if he's going to go and grab a college coach, it's going to be someone else. And people in the chat earlier were saying Steve Sarkisian. That would make sense. Maybe he tries to go get Dan Lanning.
I don't think Sark would do it again.
That's fair. Yeah, he didn't. His time in the NFL didn't go very well.
Cushy situation in Texas, man.
Right. And that plays in also here with Deion Sanders is that he has a really good situation in Colorado where there is just so much support that's being funneled into that Colorado football program and that's being placed behind him for the marketing that he has done for that university and boosted their applications across every category. The other aspect of this too is you kind of hear Deion Sanders talk about him getting into coaching. This isn't a guy that I think is going to be pulled away just from getting offered a bigger deal and more money. He has been someone who has gotten into coaching because he wants to influence and help young men. Like he has been vocal about that. I don't think he just takes the Cowboys job, just take the Cowboys job.
That Colorado money is different than the Cowboys money, though. I get what you're saying. I do think that there's legs to this, though.
I'm sure they'll pick up the phone and call. I'm sure that there will be a conversation. I just don't think it makes sense.
Jerry going to call him in for an interview.
I bet he does. I bet he does. He deserves it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you got to. Now, but Joe, I never felt that when he took the Colorado job, that once Shedeur and Travis Hunter left, I never felt like he would stay long. Maybe he does. I don't know. But he did it at Jackson State. He's doing it here. He's never been without a son.
And that right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
So, I mean, there also comes a time where he can't talk to he's got to now treat it as a coach. This isn't your son at quarterback, right? Like you those conversations are massively different now. You don't have all three of your sons there to be the leaders of the team and how you want it being molded. Joe, I had a relative that was my head coach, okay, through high school. He would send hints to me and my cousins all the time on how he wanted his team to be built. Hey, man, we're lacking here. We're doing this. And underlyingly, all three of us would do it. All right, this got to be done. That's got to be done. Those conversations are had between Shedeur and Dion. He doesn't have that now. It's going to be interesting to see how this transfolds. I think Caden Salter is really good. That's just me. So they got talent in Colorado. If he goes back, I think they still can be really good. I'm not saying that he won't win games. I just don't know where his path is leading.
Well, I think that his path is, yes, it was initiated by coaching his sons, and he coached them in high school, that then set up the opportunity to coach at Jackson State, to then coach at Colorado, and that has been the path. And it's understandable to bring that up of like, what do we expect now, knowing what was the start to all of this? But I think on both sides, there is a desire for Dion and for Shedeur to go in opposite directions. I just think that at a certain point there had to be a separation, and it feels like that's where we are right now. I also think that he has done a good job of building a foundation for Colorado to continue to get better and better every single year and play and win a conference that is extremely winnable with the structure and the way that they build their teams. The NFL, it is a circumstance where he has accomplished a lot. He's won Super Bowls. He was a Heisman Trophy finalist. He's already one of the biggest names in just sports in the United States. People who are casuals and barely know anything about college football know who Deion Sanders is and know him from his NFL career. I just like, what would be the selling point if you're Deion Sanders? Like, what would be the motivation for him to say, yep, I'm taking this job. I'm going and coaching the Dallas Cowboys.
His motivation?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, there in no way. If Jerry Jones picked up the phone and called Deion and said, I need you to come home, he's gone.
I mean, that makes plenty of sense, but I feel like he's not your typical coach. He's already accomplished so much.
I just called you Jewel, like my 2-year-old daughter.
Great.
Joe.
Great.
I'm going to tell you like I tell her. Here's story time coming. You ready? Money talks and bullshit walks. I don't give two Rudy Poos that what he said about the money. Because they have been flashy with the Suns and Travis Hunter all over the place. They are involved in the agency firm that represents all of them. Bullshit. They can say whatever they want to say out there in them people's streets. Money talks and bullshit walks. That is the way this world goes. And you best believe that, and as the great meme would say, he don't give a shit about them kids.
Yeah, but no, come on.
Go. He literally walked in there and said, I'm bringing my baggage, and it's Louis. And he made the entire team hit the portal. I don't have a problem with that. But don't act like that. He ain't going to do what best suits Dion. And he should do that.
I understand that angle of it. Obviously, his roster management stuff should be called into question of this conversation. I
ain't gonna do that with Jerry.
I'm not painting him to be like some righteous leader that is only doing this because he wants to
State how they feel.
Okay. But what I'm getting at here is he is not your typical coach that is up and coming and getting better and better opportunities and then moving on to the NFL because that's the ultimate goal.
You said, what's his motivation?
Yeah, but what I'm saying here is
Colorado ain't the Dallas Cowboys. That's his motivation. It's the NFL. Like, what do you mean what his motivation would be?
I'm saying that he's this is such a unique circumstance for him. It's not like that this is Kirby Smart or this is Steve Sarkisian, who has not been in the NFL as a player before and has not already been established nationally as, one of the biggest names in sports.
Kirby.
I'm sure that would be on the table here because the last two successful coaches that the Dallas Cowboys had were national championship winning coaches.
Kirby ain't leaving.
I don't know, man. I think that this is a little bit more complex than just assuming if the Dallas Cowboys call, you take the call and you leave.
Well, sure. Kirby ain't leaving.
I know Kirby's not. I don't think Kirby is.
Now, Darius, somebody, you ain't gonna like what I'm about to say, but there is a very established head coach that is out there.
Brian Kelly.
No. But he did coach at LSU.
You saying call Ed O?
No. My brother in Christ. Nick Saban, you doofus.
Oh, they're not hiring Nick Saban's done.
It's
not hiring Nick Saban.
I did not say that they were hiring him. What did I say?
There's
no way on planet Earth that I am not picking up the phone and calling him. If I had a head coaching position, I don't give a shit that he's 70, 73. I see how he moves and shakes, and it's different now.
Okay, but this is the same. Wait, this is the same
I'm
conversation with Bill Belichick. You can't
change my opinion. I'm calling his ass.
But if I'm Nick Saban, I'm not doing that. You're ending your career on top, being known as the greatest coach of all time. And he was
in the NFL. He went on top.
He was awful in the NFL. Why would you ruin?
He wasn't awful in the NFL.
They were awful.
The Miami Dolphins is a horrible organization that wouldn't let him take Drew Brees.
They still sucked.
If he got Drew Brees, they would have won a Super Bowl.
I'm trying to be clear here, though, that Nick Saban going and trying to resurrect the Dallas Cowboys, where he's got like maybe 5 more years of coaching left in him before he's like really got to sit down. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you risk your legacy when you've already established and built it?
Because I would tell him, because it's Jerry, and I would say, I'm about to die. You're about to die. Let's go win a Super Bowl before we both die. And by the way,
I wish it was that simple.
By the way, I'm going to give you $25 million a year to do it.
That would be astoundingly the highest paid coach in NFL history. I'm pretty sure.
I'd pay every single penny of it. You're paying.
That's wishful thinking. I think you're nuts for suggesting that Nick Saban would take the Cowboys job.
I'd throw every NIL dollar that I Arkansas, you're up Schitt's Creek. All that money going to Saban.
I wouldn't do that either side.
I'm calling him. Ain't no way I'm not calling him.